My name is Ashley Cummings. I'm living in Whitehorse, Yukon right now, and my pronouns are she and her. One of the stressful parts of environmental racism is just how differently different BIPOC experience it. You know, my culture, and when I was growing up in Nunavut, there was so much richness. Like we went caribou hunting a lot, we went fishing and clam digging a lot, and when seasons become so erratic, for example, there was one winter where the sea ice didn't form until almost November, and normally it starts forming in September, and it's pretty much formed, by mid-October. And having that sudden change in something that's, been happening since time immemorial, having the sea ice and using it as a form of transportation, whether we're, going over it with skidoos to go fishing in a lake, there's an incredible loss of culture in that. And that's not the fault of Inuit. That is the fault of, massive corporations, polluting our planet and, mismanaged policy. Mining is a really big part of the industry here. Mm-hmm. And of course that directly harms the traditional lands of so many different Yukon First Nations, even just being a territory with 14 different Yukon First Nations. Mining is, it's pure destruction to our land. And I feel that's a big part of it, especially when sacred lands come into question. And even just looking at our, percentage of land owned by Yukon First Nations, I think it's around 12% in the whole territory. And while that's, great, that's 12% more than we had pre-Umbrella Final Agreement, but it still doesn't take away the sacredness of the land that these people have been living on since, time immemorial. It's an incredible part of, their culture and their stories, and seeing it being destructed is heart-wrenching. The further north you get in Yukon, the more expensive the grocery prices get. And that being said, we're pretty lucky to have the Alaska Highway, even though that's another example of environmental racism, with so many Yukon First Nations being displaced as that was being built over World War II. And we're lucky to have it because that puts us on a main line of, so many amenities. But further north you get, the further you are away from the Alaska Highway. And then, similarly with Nunavut, these grocery store foods get, they deteriorate as they go further north and they start going bad. Then the grocery prices go up and it's hard to access hunting, especially, you have to be within the season in order to hunt certain things. So frustrating to see these foods being subsidized when really the money would best be put towards hunters, whether it's, helping buy gas or bullets so that they can go out on the land and sustainably harvest, as we've been doing for, thousands of years, and having these forced upon us and perpetuating a lot of poverty, especially when there aren't any investments being made into infrastructure in the north. So many ways that Inuit can be supported sustainably, but with this capitalism and with colonization and environmental racism and systemic racism, it really continues to knock us down.